This was a very good statement from my video where I said that Jesus did not abolish the law and that Christians should be still following the law. Otherwise, Jesus will not look upon these Christians today and say that they are true followers of his message or of this God, of his God. They are not what people today would call Christians. Not that Jesus would have used that term before somebody goes into that little diatribe. But, sir, you said that there are some laws that are fulfillable and some that are not fulfillable. And you said that it's easy to see how Christ could have fulfilled the Levitical priesthood uh, and the sacrifice cult in a way that makes them inapplicable, but not technically abolished. Well, let's look at that for a second. Jesus was a human sacrifice in order for you to be forgiven for your sins. According to the Levitical laws, only the Levites can perform the sacrifice. Jesus, whether you say he was self-sacrificing or he was sacrificed by the Romans. Now, of course, if he's sacrificed by the Romans, then those are not of the line of Aaron. Those were not Levitical priests who were performing the sacrifice. So it wouldn't count if you say the Romans sacrificed. If you say he sacrificed himself, when you look at the genealogy of Jesus through Joseph, which is the only genealogy that you have, Jesus, and that's in Mark or Matthew and Luke, Jesus is not of the Levitical line. He is not of Aaron's line. So therefore, even if he performed a self-sacrifice, he would not have been a priest in the line of Aaron, to which the Bible in Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers says that only through Aaron's line can these sacrifices be made, these sacrifice of atonement and all other sacrifices for Israel. So therefore, since it wasn't done, he wasn't in that line, his sacrifice would not have been approved or appropriate based on this God who said that the line of Aaron is perpetual. The Levitical line is perpetual, forever, always, never ending. So he would not have fulfilled the Levitical priesthood, nor would he have fulfilled the sacrifice, the cult of the sacrifice, because he was not sacrificed on an altar, at an altar. Blood wasn't splashed on altar, earlobes. It wasn't burned. His body wasn't burned as the Levitical practice of the blood sacrifice is supposed to be. The bodies are, the atonement sacrifices are burned, right? None of those things happened. There was no wave offering of his body parts or anything of the sort. So therefore, again, he does not fulfill the Levitical line, and nor does he fulfill the actual atonement sacrifice. And you're right, some things of the law can't technically ever be fulfilled, like thou shalt not murder. I give you that one. But Jesus did not fulfill that. And if you look at Matthew, what I was talking about, it says, and we'll go over those 3 or 4 verses here. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. All right. So what is he fulfilling? If you understood that aspect, well, to understand, not if you, to understand that aspect of it, he didn't abolish the law or the prophets, but to fulfill them, right? That would be the fulfillment of the coming Messiah. That would be the Isaiah, even though Isaiah was talking about a child that was born then from a woman who was pregnant at that moment, and most likely it is talking about Hezekiah. You can extrapolate that it is a precursor to the Jesus character, even though it's a mistranslation from the Greek to the uh, Aramaic and English and all of the languages. But at the end of the day, it was a mistranslation, and then later written in Matthew to try to connect Jesus to the Old Testament. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Everything is accomplished, right? Until heaven and earth disappear. At the time frame that Jesus was sacrificed and rose, heaven and earth did not disappear. It's still here right now. Until everything is fulfilled, until the second coming everything is not fulfilled until the sackcloth moon and the blood waters and the earthquakes and the 1/3 of the population dying when the four angels appear at the edge on the side of the Euphrates River, until the beast comes, until all the diseases happen, the plague, until everything is a, is accomplished, and everything certainly has not yet been accomplished. So he has not. So the law is still valid. Therefore, anyone who set aside one of their least and one of one of the least of these commands and teachers others according and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So if these commands are not taught, if these commands are not practiced, you will be the least in heaven. If you are practicing these commands and teaching these commands, you will be great in heaven. What Christians are doing this? They're teaching some: don't murder, don't commit adultery. But where's the animal sacrifices? Hmm? Where's the arranged marriages? Hmm? Where's the not wearing of mixed linen? Hmm? All these things are missing. All these things are missing. The 613 commandments that are out there are missing, plus all the other legalities. Not done, right? The sacrifices are supposed to be perpetual. Once again, I will restate that 11 times, because perpetual means for all times. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. Meaning that you got to practice the law better than the Pharisees, than the teachers, because they were still participating in these things at the time frame that this message was so-called written. So you're not doing it, you're the least. If you're not teaching it, you're the least. At no point in time did Jesus' sacrifice stop you from having to perform those rituals, having to perform those sacrifices, having to banish people from the group and set them outside of the encampment. At no time were you supposed to take away from the law. You took away from the law, humanity took away from the law, simply because cultures change, rules and laws of the countries change. That's why. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not Christian. But because I know all of this is culturally based and all of this is made up as propaganda, I am not a follower of this book, a believer of this book, because I prefer facts over fiction. Y'all have a great day. Great question. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.